Hello viewers, welcome to my Doctor Who themed YouTube channel, Who Ventures, and I'm so excited. This is my review of Doctor Who Series 11, Episode 4, Arachnids in the UK, and it was brilliant! And I am going to give it 10 out of 10. Because I thought it was fabulous. It was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. Amazing. So, before we start, yes, if you are a complete arachnophobe, this episode would not be for you. Because there was massive spiders. They started off small and then they gradually got bigger and bigger. And massive. So, yeah, it was very scary and they looked very realistic. So yeah, if you don't like spiders, then you probably wouldn't have liked this episode, but I thought it was amazing. Before I start going through the notes, I'll tell you a story about my own experience with spiders. I used to be scared of spiders and I used to scream every time I saw a spider, even if it was teeny weeny. But then when it was my 30th birthday, I think, we went to like this fair, like a typical English kind of fair day out, and there was an animal exhibition, and you could touch some of the animals, and there was a tarantula, and I thought, I don't know what my state of mind was that day. I thought, oh, go on then, stick it on my hand. So I just went and had the tarantula on my hand. Thought, yeah, go on then. And it was cute because it had little hooks in its legs. And he said it's got hooks in its legs, so keep quiet still. And it was cute because when he took it off, I could feel the hooks sort of clinging to my fingertips. And from that day I've been able to handle spiders. Well, not literally handle, but being able to cope with stumbling into spiders. I tend to have a chat with them now instead of screaming. So here's the comic strip I did about my trip to about my impulsive nature of just, here's a spider, stick it on my hand. So here's that comic strip that I did. So this episode was amazing. The spiders were scary and amazing. The CGI was very effective, it was very realistic, and it was quite political. It was just amazing, and we found out lots more about the 13th Doctor and her personality, and she was a lot more fun, and she is fun, but there was more of a childlike wonderment and childlike nature that came out in this episode. And she was like, we saw more of her social awkwardness. I thought it was so cute. And we saw a lot of emotion with Graham as well. So let's go through my notes. So a running thing this series in the Chibnall era seems to be there's no more pre-credits scenes. We go straight into the credits, which I think for people who aren't Doctor Who regular fans, I think that's quite good because it just starts the programme and then you're into the programme. So I think that seems to be working better with my mum and dad, because my mum and dad are absolutely loving this series. They're so into Doctor Who now. Even my auntie's always said, oh, I'm not into Doctor Who. Well, you know I'm not into Doctor Who. but I thought something that she said, because came round for a cuppa this afternoon. One of the things she said was, she saw the Rosa Parks episode, and she was like, "Did you see? It was about Rosa Parks, wasn't it?" And so that I didn't know much about it, and so that she actually watched it, and then she said, and Mum was saying, "Yeah, you learn loads, don't you? It's really educational. You learn about history, you learn all sorts of stuff." And they was talking about it and really loving it. And then my auntie said, yeah, 'cause when I was a little girl, it was just all Daleks and stuff. So I thought that was very interesting, that they loved it seems to be fulfilling the original brief of to educate and to educate and entertain. So it's definitely fulfilling that brief, this series. So let's start with the notes. So after the credits, we see everything. The opening scenes are all floor level, so it's like Spider's point of view, which I thought was brilliant. And we see a golf course, and then we see underground, and we see the carpet, and it's in this hotel. And then we see Chris North, and he was Mr. Big in Sex and the City, and his character doesn't actually get named until quite a way into the episode, so I've called him Boss Guy in my notes. And he plays a really horrible businessman. And so we see a scene with this woman, and she's called Frankie, and she's talking about, "Oh, we can't do that, and we don't know really what she's talking about, but she's his niece's wife, and she's talking about stuff, and there's something to do with like an agreement that he's got to sign or something. And also there is his bodyguard, Kevin. And then Yazzy's mum comes in, and she's called Nadia, and she's come in to like, because she's general manager of the hotel, so she's come in to make sure she's got all the information she needs to be a good general manager. And then the boss guy, he just fires her. And it's like, I wrote bastard, because I didn't want to swear on my notes. But what a bastard. How, Jenny. And then we see the vortex. The vortex. Oh my gosh. The new graphics of the vortex is amazing. Because we actually see, it's like Swiss cheese. We actually see the different pathways the TARDIS could go down each path in the vortex. It's not just one vortex that we see. You can see all the different pathways are arcing off. And it's amazing. I love that. I also love how sparkly the credits are. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I love it. It's so pretty. I need massive posters of the vortex and the credits and all the sparkliness. We need a colouring book. Can we have a new colouring book so we can colour in the vortex and make it all sparkly? That would be amazing. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Then they're flying the TARDIS, and the team are around the TARDIS, and it's a bit of a wobbly flight. And I did think that the team, they could do with some like comfy seats and seat belts, because they were clinging onto the TARDIS console. And then the TARDIS arrives in Sheffield, and it's like, yay, they've actually got to the right place. And it's Park Hill. And Yaz says, "That's my flat up there, that's where I live." And turns out Ryan and Graham, they only live down the road. So it's like, oh, we was neighbours all this time, we didn't even know. And then they come back half an hour since they originally left. And then the doctor thinks they're all just gonna leave now, and she starts saying goodbye to him, saying, well, she's all at your home now, so and she's like all sad because she thinks they're saying goodbye. And then Yaz says, what are you going to do? And the doctor says, well, I'll go and see stuff. And Yaz, on your own. And then I thought that I'm in the universe, I'm always free to hang out with the doctor. I'd love to hang out with the doctor, so she can always find me. I'll probably be on some alien planet, because I've got a business idea for my in-universe, as well as being a journalist, which was my job for the Pollyanna, which is how I got onto the Pollyanna to orbit the sun. I also trade in sweets and candy, earth candy. That's what my job is, I think. I've decided. So I decided I'd trade in earth candy. So she could always hang out with me. Okay, back to the story. So Yaz says, do you want to come for tea at mine? And the doctor says, yes I do. Tea at Yaz's. And then the doctor turns around and says, are you coming? And Ryan says, oh, she hasn't invited us. And Yaz says, of course I have. Ryan. And then, but Graham wants to nip home because he's sad. Oh, Bradley is so amazing in this episode. So totes the emotion. And then when they're going into Yaz's house, we see a woman called Jade McIntyre, and she's knocking on next door, and she's looking for someone called Annie. So then they're in Yaz's flat, and Yaz and Ryan are like really cute, and Yaz has brought her friends back. And they're all surprised, like, Yaz's got friends. Like, they're surprised. And her dad, Yaz's dad, is so sweet. He's so cute. He's like, oh, I gotta make the tea. Oh, yeah. And he's so cute and sweet. And then the doctor is looking around the flat, and she starts talking about, oh, I could have a sofa. I'd have a purple sofa. Oh, I'll have a sit down on my purple sofa. And she all starts going on. And Ryan and Yaz like, you're being a bit... And the doctor's like, oh, maybe I'm nervous. Or, oh, maybe I'm just socially awkward. It's like, oh, so relatable. Because, yeah, that's the kind of thing I would do. Although I'd be really quiet. I'd be selective mute at first, and then I'd start talking about wanting a purple sofa. And then Dad's got like, he's sort of a conspiracy theorist, and he thinks there's a conspiracy, and it's like about rubbish and stuff. And then Yaz's sister starts flirting with Ryan, and then Yaz's mum rings up and she needs to left home because she got fired, but she wants Yaz to not tell her dad that she got fired. So, and then Yaz is going off to pick her up, and the doctor's like, oh, can I come? And the doctor's like, she wants to go off with Yaz, but she doesn't. Then we hear lots of stuff about what the doctor's done in the past, but she starts talking about all the sci-fi stuff she's done, and Ryan is like, yeah, don't talk about that, and tries to make excuses for what she's saying. And then Yaz said her dad makes terrible pakora, and the doctor says, oh well, I'll just be back in time to have your terrible pakora. 4 hours before any. And then Graham goes home and he's all sad. Oh, also, we've seen 2 big cobwebs so far. So Graham goes home, and then we see another cobweb, and he's sad, and he thinks about Grace, and we see what inside his thoughts, and we see Grace sort of appear in the flat, and it's like we're seeing what he's thinking. And Grace in his head is talking about when he's got to do the cooking and when to put the bins out. and there's beautiful there. And then there's a package at Anna's house for Yaz's family, so the doctor goes round with Ryan to pick up this package. But this Jade McIntyre is like, she's trying to get Anna to open the door, but she won't open the door, and this Jade McIntyre is really worried. So the doctor sonics the door, and then there's loads of webs, and the lecky's cut off, and there's lots of cobwebs. And then we cut back to Graham, and he's sniffing Grace's clothes, and and then he hears a thud, and so he goes upstairs to see what the noise was. And then we see the doctor's gone upstairs in Anna's house, and they find Anna in bed, and she's cocooned in a spider web. And then they're all, "Where's the spider that did it?" And then they look in the wardrobe, but it's not there. Then Ryan looks underneath something, and it's there, and it's a massive spider. It's like, it was really well done. It was computer graphics on it. It was really convincing. And Ryan jumped back, and then the doctor is looking for vinegar and garlic. She's looking for vinegar because it has acetic acid and garlic, and she said spiders don't like garlic. I wonder if all of these facts about spiders were true about because that's really interesting, because I didn't know those facts. And then, but the spider escapes, and then the doctor's talking to the spider, and then we also see Graham at his house, and he's found like a spider skin, what a spider shed its skin, and he finds the shell. And then the doctor's talking to Jade and asking about it, and that's when we find out that Yaz's sister says Yaz is weird friends. So I thought that was funny, and I thought that was an interesting factoid about Yaz. And then Jade turns out to be sciencey, and she's a scientist who works on spiders and research on spider silk, which is a real thing because they've got that in real life. They put spider DNA into goats, and you can get spider silk from a goat. So I thought that was interesting. And Graham, while he was at his house, found a letter for Ryan from Ryan's dad. So we're back in the hotel, and the electric's flickering, and then Frankie was talking about this non-disclosure agreement. I thought, the timing on these episodes is so weirdly appropriate at the moment. It's like, what is going on? And then Frankie, she's on her own, she's like talking like and having a rant, but then she gets caught by a spider. Then Yaz is going to the hotel to pick up her mum, and she gives her a big hug, and her mum says she was sacked. Then the boss guy appears, and his guard's got a gun. It's like, what the fuck? What's he got a gun for? They're not even doing anything. And the boss guy's such a dick. And then we find out all about, we're at the spider lab, and we found out about the research on the spider silk. And we found out another little tidbit about, and the doctor was saying, if you wrap spider silk, sort of braid it, you can stop a plane. And apparently she found that out with Amelia Earhart, and she had a good time with Amelia Earhart. Obviously, she would possibly have been a different, well, not possibly, she would have been a different incarnation, because there isn't a point where. So I wonder what incarnation she was with Amelia Earhart. That'd be interesting. I'm gonna say John Pertwee. So in lab, some unusual spider stuff in Sheffield, and the ecosystem's gone wrong, and the spiders are all confused. That's what the theory is so far. And then the doctor's drawing on the board of the map where the spider things have happened, and she finds that the hotel, the big hotel, is at the epicenter. So the boss guy, he suddenly says, "Oh, I've got a scheduled bathroom break." And I thought that was a weird thing, and Yaz thought that was a bit odd. And then Yaz and her mum, they found this the room, they got to the hotel room, and he sacked Yaz's mum because the room's full of cobwebs, and Yaz's mum said she'd cleaned him, so that's why he sacked her. And then they found all these cobwebs, and then he goes off to the bathroom for his bathroom break, and then Yaz hears scratching noises. So we see Yaz listening at the wall, and inside the wall is a big spider. And then the doctor calls her at a hotel, and Yaz's mum answers, "Is a doctor for you?" And the doctor's turned up at the hotel, so they have to go let the doctor in. And then the boss guy, he's in the bathroom, and he looks at the bath plug, and the bath plug starts cracking, and then a massive spider just bursts out of the bathtub. And it's like, and I thought at that point, right, that's it, you're going to have loads of smelly kids now, because the kids aren't going to want to get in the bath now. So I hope the kids all had their Sunday baths before this episode, because you're not going to get them in the bath now. I thought that was funny. And then the doctor meets Yaz's mum, and then they hear gunshots, and it was Kevin, the bodyguard, fighting with the spider, but the spider started eating him and got him. And at that point I thought the boss guy, Chris North, the boss guy, was like, he just seems really alien. I thought he was an alien, because he was just acting so... I just didn't understand why he was acting the way he did, and why I understand his actions. It's like, they got my Kevin. It's like, what? Oh my god, they got Kevin. And that was like South Park a bit. And then the doctor meets the boss guy and says, "Crisis investigators," and she's with the team. And then Graham sees the boss guy and says, "Huh, you're that bloke." And they like know him, because apparently he's meant to be like dead famous. So there's a big spider problem. So the doctor goes into this bathroom. She climbs into the cracked bath with the owl, and she dangles from her feet. And then she meets the big spider and says, "Hello, just looking for Kevin." And then she climbs out and is like, "Ah!" And then follow Yaz's mum, because Yaz's mum knows how to get outside. But they get to the lobby, and it's all webbed up, so they can't get to the doors. So they're sort of trapped, like they are the flies. And they're all wondering, why are there spiders here? Because they've gone in the kitchen at that point. And then the doctor, the boss guy is a guy called Jack Robertson. He's apparently dead famous. And the doctor thinks, "Who's that? Who is he? Ed Sheeran." Everybody's going on about Ed Sheeran. I thought that was fun. There's loads of fan art ideas too. And then I thought, oh, he's meant to be a metaphor of Trump. But then we find out that he was a rival of Trump's. He said, and then someone said, "Oh, he's running in 2020 because he hates Trump." And then this Jack Robinson says, "Don't mention that name." And then Doctor's brilliant, and then says, Ryan's joking, "Oh, he thinks it's conspiracy's been, or maybe it's been targeted by Russians." Like, how is everything so weirdly appropriate? The timing on these episodes with real life events is just, it's like, how? I love that about Doctor Who. And then the boss guy said, "Why is she in charge? You says she's in charge." And then the team said, "Says us." Yeah. And then they find the plans of the hotel, and they need to get a spider, actually catch one of the spiders. And then Graham's in the hotel corridor. It's like, "Okay, Graham, we can do this." And then he's going to catch a spider. Then Ryan jumps out and gets it in a big saucepan, and they catch the spider in a big saucepan. And then there's tons of spiders coming down the hallway, and they're all over the ceiling and everything. And then Nadia is sort of a link between Anna's flat and the hotel, and there's something to do with pheromones, spidery pheromones. And then this Jack Robinson has been building these hotels on repurposed sites, and he built this hotel on top of a coal mine. And so the Doctor goes looking, and they find the restricted room, and the Doctor's like, "I call people dude now." Like, I call people dude too. Like, I was like, "Yo, dude." And that's what I do. I call people a dude. And then they found this basement, and it sort of like goes into a coal tunnel, and it's a network of mining tunnels. And then they find these people wrapped in spider webs, all cocooned. So they find Frankie and Kevin in a spider web cocoon, and the spiders are all confused, and they're saying, "The spiders don't do this, they must be really confused." And then they find out that this boss guy has been burying landfill. He's been buying up the landfill, burying it in a coal mine, and building a hotel on top. So there's all this building waste, and he's took this waste, picked up waste from the lab that's doing experiments with spiders, and turns out some of what they thought were dead spiders was actually alive spiders. So they lived in the landfill, and all these toxic gases, they didn't stop growing. So the spiders have been, all this stuff, the spiders have took in, and they've kept growing. And I did think at that point, surely the lab should have burnt the waste, like burnt it, instead of just waste, just chucked it on a pile. And then so the alive spiders keep growing, because apparently they said that spiders keep growing in their lifetime. I didn't know that. Then we see Graham and Ryan again, and Ryan's read the letter from his dad, and his dad wants Ryan to go live with him because he's like related to him, and he's like more family, more proper family than Graham is. But Ryan's saying, "I didn't like that you said that," because Ryan likes Graham and wants to be with Graham. And then they realise they haven't looked at the ceiling, and so they look at the ceiling, and it's massivest spider, and the size of a large van. And then the Doctor realises that must be the mother spider. Then Anna had pheromones on her because she worked at the lab, and the spiders are coming back home to the hotel because that's where the mother spider is. So the doctor, they want to go into the panic room, and then the boss guy says, I've got enough stuff in here to survive 6 months. And she's going to let the baby spiders into the panic room and do something with some spa supplies with peppermint and tea tree oil or something. Or maybe she's going to lure the very big spider. Oh, maybe she's going to lure the very big spider into the panic room with the babies. And then just like keep him there with peppermint and tea tree oil at the door or something. And then says, oh, that's a plan straight out of Edith Wharton novel. I might have to investigate those books. It's interesting. So Ryan, like, how can we lure the spiders into the panic room? And the spiders go towards vibrations, so go towards music. So Ryan says to Yaz, raise! And Yaz like, I don't know what you're on about. And it's like Storm, it's like a type of music or something. And Ryan puts Stormzy on, and the spider's going towards the vibrations. I thought that was cool. And Graham's like, I can't believe the spider's going towards that music. He don't like the Stormzy music. I thought it was cool. I like the use of pop music and types of music in this series. I love it. I think it's amazing. It's so cool. So the doctor is collecting the spa supplies, and then they go into the big hotel room, the big conference room, and they find the mother spider, but the mother spider's sort of struggling against the wall, and apparently because she's too big, she's too big to breathe, and she's scared, and she's gonna die of oxygen, having no oxygen anyway. So like start to like step back and like but then the boss guy comes in with a gun and says, right, I'm gonna shoot her. And he shoots the mother spider, and then they say, but she was going away anyway, you didn't even need to do that. And the boss guy said, yeah, but this is the way, this is what's going to happen. And he was right dick, and Graham was like, God help us all. I thought it very poignant. And then Graham, then we get back to Graham's house, and he's thinking of Grace again, and they're all thinking about whether they want to continue with travelling in the TARDIS. And then they're at Yaz's house, and Yaz looks at her family, and because they came back only half an hour after they were gone, Yaz doesn't really realise what travelling in the TARDIS is all about. She thinks it's just, oh, I can come back in half an hour. And so she looks fondly at her family, and then leaves. And then they're all back at the TARDIS. They're all inside the TARDIS. And Graham, Yaz and Ryan say they want to more travels. And then the doctor's warning about, are you sure, you guys? And just trying to warn them how dangerous it is. And they all say, and says, are you sure? And Yaz says, sure. And Graham says, sure. And Ryan says, defo. I love that. I love that. And then the doctor smiles, says, my fam, Team TARDIS, as that, and then they all pull the TARDIS lever together, and it's so sweet, and I loved it. Oh, it's beautiful. I love this episode. I thought 10 out of 10, brilliant. I thought, oh, it's brilliant. Possibly might be my favourite so far of series 11. It is amazing. So I hope you have enjoyed this review, and thank you for watching. Yay! Do 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 do. Happy Halloween 2018. You like my spider collection? Thank you to my dad who got me these spiders in time for this review. And I got myself these spiders, this friend and this friend. Happy Halloween.